Hello, my name is Droolbatz. It's so nice to see you. Today I'm going to be discussing the 2016 horror movie FirstBorn. I'm going to be talking about the premise, the production value, and artistic choices, and finally how it compares or contrasts to other films of the genre. I hope you enjoy. A young British couple finds out that they are expecting a baby. They're kind of a party couple, but they embrace the concept of being parents and move in together and have this adorable baby. Right after the baby is born, the husband starts noticing some weird stuff going on. A weird lady comes up to him in the hospital and makes some weird comment about his baby. The girlfriend says that she invited his dad to come see the baby, and he's like, no, my dad'll try to use her for some weird ritual, implying his dad is into the occult for some reason. As they start to adjust to life with their cute little baby, whom they name Thea, they realize that there's some weird stuff going on. The mom, Charlie, starts getting weird bruises all over her, one a day, especially on her back. She gets scratches and bruises that kind of look like a dog jumps on you if you have dogs who like to jump on the bed. They notice stuff starts falling off shelves and breaking, and anytime the mother, Charlie, has an outburst, at one point she's trying to do something and the baby's just crying and she gets kind of frustrated, new mom frustrations, and she yells, shut the F up. And suddenly a claw writes that on the doorway. It's crazy. They realize that something weird definitely is going on, so they talk to the boyfriend's dad, and he basically says that there is a genetic thing that runs in their family that makes people in their family susceptible to spirits, and I want to say a medium or a seer, they can kind of see the spirits from the other side, and as a result the spirits kind of seek them out. He gives them a little spell to teach Thea so that she can say it to herself and kind of keep herself safe. But as Thea gets older, it gets harder and harder to keep the spirits at bay. When Thea is 6 years old, things start to get really out of hand. They can't keep her from these creatures anymore. These creatures start coming into their house, demons and ghosts and things. And so they take Thea to this acquaintance of the dad's, who seems to have the same problem, and she kind of starts teaching little Thea how to drink tea so she can see more clearly, and how to make a protective circle in the ground. The question arises though, will this be enough? Thea has more power than any of them have ever seen. Will it be enough to save her, learning from this woman? You'll have to watch to find out. FirstBorn was kind of a slow-paced movie. I think the acting was really good. There was a lot of fun banter between the husband and wife, but ultimately the scares were spaced pretty far apart and there wasn't that much tension. As a result, the movie felt very slow, and it felt like they were trying to fill time a lot of the time. At about 90 minutes, the movie isn't the longest feature-length film possible, but there was just a lot of dead space in the movie. Things moved pretty slowly, and there wasn't a whole lot of shot variety, so visually it did feel a bit stale. That said, the movie had really good special effects. There was a lot of, seeing the shapes out of the corner of your eyes, and having things fall off shelves or having people get slammed back telekinetically. All of that was really well done and really added a little bit of an elevated feel to the movie. So when they were trying to be scary, it was scary. It just was not scary for most of the movie. The scares were fairly well spaced throughout the movie, but there weren't that many of them, and they just really weren't very effectual. The sounds in the movie were not very well balanced. The talking, the dialogue was very, very quiet, and then the sound effects, when the monsters came out, were super loud. And I think, honestly, the scary element came more from just being startled. If you had headphones in or earbuds in or headphones on, I jumped more just at the shocking increase in volume rather than the actual stuff that was happening on the screen. A lot of the scares felt very familiar. Lots of haunted house movies or child haunting movies have these same exact scares, things falling off the shelves, people getting slammed back. It's all familiar, and while that can be good, because the scares were very familiar and the tension wasn't built up very well beforehand, it just really didn't satisfy me as a viewer in that way. This movie was, I think, a TV movie. Ultimately, it felt professional, but it just didn't quite hit the mark. I think the editing could have been tighter. I think some different artistic choices should have been made for how the cameras moved and things like that. Altogether, it was decent, but not spectacular. Now I'm going to be talking about how this movie compares to other films of the genre. I am going to be spoiling this movie, so if you don't want spoilers, please leave now. It was lovely to have you. As Thea is learning from this older woman, it becomes apparent that this woman has some serious demons of her own. As the creatures in the house, in the family's house, start getting more out of hand despite the family and Thea taking steps to keep them away, it becomes clear that she needs an immediate assist from this woman. However, when she gets to this woman's house late at night and the creatures are slamming around, the woman gets really angry at the mom for being frustrated with all of this. The mom kind of says a little outburst like, oh, this has taken up 6 years of my life that I'll never get back, or something like that, and the woman goes, how dare you, not be grateful for this child, or whatever, and tries to kill the mom, and she takes Thea out into the woods, and she says, Thea, I need you to help me. And she makes this protective circle and says, I need you to step out of this protective circle. And you see some kind of terrifying demon coming towards the circle. And he can't get into the circle, but the woman's like, I need you to step out, Thea. This thing has been hunting me for years and feeding off me, and I need to pass it on to you so I can finally have some peace. You realize that this woman has been trying to use Thea, and because Thea is only 6, she's very young, she couldn't have seen that, and her parents didn't really realize it either, or else they obviously wouldn't have taken her there, because while they are frustrated with all the supernatural stuff going on with Thea, they do love her, and they do want to keep her safe. As this woman is trying to shove her out, Thea shoves the old woman out, and the monster gets her instead of Thea. The mom lives as soon as the old lady kind of dies and runs out to find Thea, gives her a hug, and things seem to calm down for Thea as, she is the most powerful, so more monsters are coming at her, but also as her power grows, she's more able to fight them. The mom then takes Thea to the playground, and she seems to be fine, and the mom kind of sits there and wonders what her daughter's future will be. The ending was kind of cheesy and lame, in my opinion. It didn't really wrap up until the last 7 minutes of the movie, so there really wasn't any denouement. Ultimately, the movie, the pacing wasn't as good. It took a very long time to get to the conclusion. The movie's about an hour and a half. I want to say it's 92 minutes or something like that. And, the final boss fight didn't happen till the last 10 minutes. That's not that good pacing. So this movie used a lot of really common tropes that are often found in movies about haunted houses or people who are haunted. Things crashing off of shelves, people getting slammed back telekinetically when emotions get high, weird writing appearing in the house. The movie really didn't bring anything new to the table in that way, except for the spell that Thea says to herself. She says Zacchio, 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 and 4 points around her body or something, and says this little spell. They never explained what Zacchio is. The movie is a British film. I know that in America, the term Zacchio is not a common term. I'm not sure if that's common in Britain or if it was just made up for this movie, but they didn't actually explain what it was supposed to be, if it's Latin or if it's whatever, what exactly it's supposed to do. So that was a unique element, but it didn't really blend with the rest of the movie very well. Thea is not being hunted by one specific ghost, one specific demon, one specific creature, so it's not a direct comparison to The Exorcist, but it is very similar. A young child is being hunted. There are a lot of cheap TV movies from America that have very similar concepts. Usually it's a teenager who's a little bit, you know, emotionally having problems, like she's mad at her parents because they moved, or like she's, you know, struggling, or she, whatever. And you know, a creature like hunts them because they're emotionally vulnerable. I think the concept that these creatures are just hunting her because she's magical, got these special like supernatural abilities that she doesn't really realize, and because they think they can prey on her because she's really young, I guess is kind of what defined the movie. But there are a lot of similar movies with very similar concepts, almost too many to count, frankly. Rosemary's Baby is kind of, in my opinion, the defining movie about a young mother dealing with supernatural things. But of course, Rosemary's Baby is about like a coven of witches rather than demons. But it's still, you know, the whole like the mother's seeing things, and a lot of the movie is from the mother's perspective, felt similar in that way, even if only an allusion to that. If I had to rate this movie, I would give it a 2 out of 5 stars. It did have some really good production value. I really enjoyed the banter between the parents, so I mean, there were some amusing moments, but altogether, the movie felt very tired. The pacing was not good, and I was very bored throughout this movie. I even had it on in the background while I was doing other stuff because it was, you know, that visually stale to me, and I was still bored while I was doing other things. And because it didn't really bring anything new to the table as far as like supernatural creatures hunting a little kid, because the little kid has something special about them, I really can't give it a higher score. It just wasn't very original, and the execution was not tight and was very boring. Sometimes movies with unoriginal plots are still really entertaining just because how they're approached, but this movie just didn't bring that to the table. It's a good movie, I think, if you're looking to have an introduction to horror, or like if you have a friend who wants to watch a scary movie but like they can't handle really scary stuff, and you just want to like break them in gently. I think this movie would be good for that. But I think for people who are seasoned horror fans, this movie just will fall a little bit flat. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. Have you seen this movie? Do you agree with my analysis? Do you know what Zacchio means? Let me know if you do. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. I do make horror reviews on this channel, so please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.